Hey everyone, Prime here from Serenity, bringing you our no-break strategy for Mythic Tichondrius in the Nighthold. For this fight, you'll need 2 tanks, 4 healers, and a mix of range and melee DPS. Having the proper comp for this fight can make it way easier just because of how well certain classes perform on certain mechanics. But don't sacrifice sending a strong DPS player just to make comp. The fight still has a very high DPS requirement. For the strategy to work, you will need at least 1 rogue and 1 druid tank. 2 rogues is preferred, but if you only have 1 rogue, you will need 2 other players with immunities to be soakers for the Seeker Swarm. Having a druid tank also makes dealing with the Seeker Swarms much easier, just because of their high HP pool and cooldown toolkit. Also really useful to have either a Windwalker Brewmaster Monk. Having them use their Ox Statue Totem during bats makes clearing the 20 you need way faster. For our healer lineup, we run a Holy Paladin, a Resto Shaman, and 2 Resto Druids. The fight is doable with any healer comp you have, but having the 2 externals from the Druids makes keeping the tank getting hit by Seeker Swarm way easier, and less healer clutch plays are needed to ensure the tank survives. For the fight on Mythic, you have all the heroic mechanics to deal with, except for a few changes. When you go into the night phase, if you don't soak an orb from a bat, you will instantly die when the night phase ends. The other change is how you deal with Seeker Swarm. In Mythic, you have the Plague debuff and get hit by Seeker Swarm, you will die. The easiest way for this mechanic is to have all players with the debuff to stack in the middle, and have one person with the immunity or the tank soak the swarm. Healers should be ready to spot heal the crap out of these soakers. The last change on Mythic is with the pillars. They now have HP and take damage based on how many players are behind each one. Just set up 4 groups of 5 players with assigned pillar locations and it's easily handled. So starting from the beginning of the fight, have your 2 range groups pretty spread into their 2 groups of 5 close to the walls of the room, but still be loosely spread. When the first 2 brands come out, break them close to the wall. This will be the only and last set that you guys will break on purpose. Very shortly after, the first Seeker Swarm will come in. Debuff players need to quickly get to the center of the room. For our first one, we have a Ret Pally Soak with his auto bubble. Soakers need to remember that now they have the Plague debuff and will need it to be in the center line for the next swarm. For our second swarm, we have our Druid Tank Soak. He uses about half of his personal cooldowns as well as an external from one of the Druids. After the second Seeker Swarm, the boss will cast his first Echoes of the Void. This is where we have our tank drag the 2 sets of bloods out to the far pillar that he's assigned to. We have all ranged DPS switch to them and burn them down quickly. We also use a bop on the tank right before he runs out, so that he can turn his back to the mobs and run and not have to worry. Important note for this no-break strategy though, 5 players is all that required to break each brand. So you need to assign 1 player in each group for the ranged pillars to be standing back away from the pillar as to ensure that those brands do not break, but still maintain line of sight from the boss. For the third Seeker Swarm, we use a rogue with cloak. Healers just be ready to spot heal him after the cloak is faded. Also make sure your rogue is spamming feint to help reduce the damage. The fourth Seeker Swarm is soaked by the Druid tank again, where he uses another set of cooldowns as well as the other Resto Druid's externals. Again, after the 4th swarm, the boss will cast Echoes of the Void again. The tank with the bloods will run out, and range will need to kill off these bloods quickly. Try to get them down before this Echoes of the Void ends. After the Echoes ends, you will get your first Night phase. Have your monk place their Ox Totem and burst the first set of bats down quickly. At this point, healers shouldn't have much going on and should help with bat damage as much as possible. Just doing 1 to 2 million damage from healers could make all the difference if making it through this phase in time or not. After the 20 bats dies, it's pointless to keep killing them. Have every player grab an orb and run out of the center of the room to reduce the chance of branded players breaking. If 1 to 2 brands do go off, it's okay, it's survivable. We save 1 Druid Trank just for this situation in this phase. Then you will go back into day phase again, or part 2 day phase. This time you will have Nightborn ads spawn. The timing can be slightly awkward for tanks to grab. It's good to have Hunters MD them to the tank with the bloods. When the Nightborn ads are active, all range need to switch and get them down quickly. They do a lot of damage and can become a problem if left up for too long. If your tank is struggling to survive, it may be a good idea to pull a few melee from the boss to help with these 2 ads. For the first Seeker Swarm in this phase, we have a Holy Paladin in unit with a bubble, and then use Divine Protection for the dot to help smooth out the damage. The second Seeker Swarm is done by the Druid tank again. We use a sack as well as a Rally Cry from a warrior. This is most likely the place where the Druid tank may die, because he most likely will not have any of his personal cooldowns back up. Be ready with a Lay on Hands or any big heals. Then Echoes of the Void will be casted again. Remember, have your assigned players stand at the back, do not break brands. Then you will get your third swarm. This is your rogue. Again, remember, spam your feint. Then your fourth one is from the Druid again, and this is where we use our second Rally Cry, a Shaman Link, and an Ache Totem. Try to have all your melee DPS that you can stack inside this link. It will usually save the tank and you won't have any issues. This one's usually one of the easier ones to deal with for the tank. It usually does not have as much damage as the second one that goes out. Then you will get Echoes of the Void again, followed by the second night phase of bats. As soon as you go into your final third day phase after returning from that second bat phase, pop Lust and pump as much damage as you can into the boss as possible. He should melt with having everyone alive and the damage bonus from the orbs. When the Watcher spawns, burst it down, then the Nightborn adds. You will only kill 2 Watchers and ignore the third. When the third spawns, you only have a limited amount of time before the night phase begins. If that happens, it's a wipe. Tichondrius will rage as soon as that night phase ends and you come back up, and he will just one-shot everyone. All in all, successfully killing this boss comes down to 3 things: soaking Seeker Swarm properly, killing enough bats / everyone collecting an ult from them, and having enough single target damage to kill Tichondrius before he enrages. If this video helped you out, please throw me out a like, and if you have any questions about any strategies, please just leave a comment. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching.
Cut the outside, cut the outside.
Come on, find the fucking boss. Come on.
Under home, boys.
2, 1. Beware.
Any cooldowns left? Gabriel, cry.
Nice.
Come on.
Yeah.
Fuck
yes.
yes.
Nicely fucking done, guys.